From Creamer Media in Johannesburg, this is the Real Economy Report. The Dube Tradeport at King Shaka International Airport is unique in South Africa and in Africa. Keith Campbell reports.
The Dube Tradeport uses the most modern systems and technologies for the handling and processing of international air freight. The Tradeport's project executive aeronautical, Ahmed Bassa, tells us about them.
The new system that we have in place is firstly all arriving containers, no matter which point of origin they come from, United States, Japan or the EU, are X-rayed. And the X-ray advantages that we have is one, is that all containers are X-rayed to ensure that there's no theft between the time it enters the cargo terminal and it leaves it. Number two, the unique feature about this X-ray from Smith Heinemann is that we can download the feature of the image down to customs, and customs within a few minutes can say whether they want to clear the item or the item is suspicious or the item has doubt. And that ensures firstly that security requirements are met, and secondly that we have speed of facilitation. The other feature that we have, which you've seen, is that the ETV, the elevated transfer vehicle, which has been sourced from Germany and which was successfully used at Frankfurt Airport, at Singapore and at Hong Kong, it gives us the ability to move 150,000 tons of cargo within a 10,000 square meter footprint, as opposed to the traditional. If you move 150,000 tons of cargo annually, you'd probably need a size 4 to 5 times this facility. So that gives us space efficiency. In addition to the ETV, we've got it digitally driven, which ensures that we have speed with regard to memory, speed with regard to storage, speed with regard to retrieval, and essentially speed with regard to moving it from the air side to the land side.
But Dube Tradeport is not just about handling air freight. The company, which is owned by the KwaZulu-Natal provincial government, also plans to compete in the local and international fresh vegetables and flowers markets. To do so, it is developing a controlled growing area called the Agri-Zone, which will include 16 hectares of hydroponic greenhouses and later up to 80 hectares under shade nets and plastic. The residential engineer for the greenhouses and designated operations manager for the Agri-Zone, Erna Corvea, explains how it will work.
Every part of the climate in the greenhouses are controlled. The ventilation, the shading, all the irrigation requirements, the heating requirements. They will be using CO2 pumping into the greenhouse, so that's controlled by the requirements of the crop. It's all computer controlled.
Other news making headlines this week include Alan Windy's announcement that oil rig servicing can boost the Western Cape and create jobs. The JSE appoints an advisory committee for the Africa board, and Hino will target the booming extra heavy truck market with the upgraded 700 series. Each oil rig that comes into the port of Saldanha is worth millions of dollars and thousands of jobs to the South African economy, says Western Cape Finance and Economic Development Minister Alan Windy, who would like to see the port of Saldanha create additional capacity for oil and gas related activities.
Oil and gas is not about the Western Cape, it is about South Africa, and we will see an oil rig in the harbour right at the moment. How many more can we get in? Each one of those oil rigs are worth hundreds of millions of dollars to our economy, thousands of jobs. I really welcome the DTI's commitment to really look at those incentives. We can give certain incentives from a province, but they're actually quite small. We've just heard and welcome the announcements by Rob Davies on really putting extra pressure on IDZ development through legislation.
The JSE has introduced an advisory committee aimed at helping the JSE Africa board, which forms part of the main equities board, in attracting capital to the African continent to provide the finance necessary for development.
We launched the board officially in Ghana last week. We have about 7 members on the committee. For us, I think it's really saying this goes beyond JSE. We're looking to develop the capital markets on the continent. And if we're looking to do that, we need to engage the rest of the continent. So these members of the committee are there to advise us as the JSE on the strategy that we've developed for the Africa board. They're there to help us champion the cause in the different countries that we go in, understanding that we don't fully understand those markets. These are the guys who will give us guidance. They'll help us to, wade our way through regulation there. They'll help us to identify who are the key people that we should be speaking to. And also, from an issuer perspective, I think they have a better understanding of the issuers' needs, which issuers are looking to probably grow on the continent and therefore would be looking to raise capital, and the JSE then would be an option for them.
Hino South Africa has traditionally not been a big presence in the extra-heavy commercial vehicle market, but the local arm of the Japanese truck maker hopes to change this with the introduction of the updated Hino 700 series.
Our plans for the year is today is the first of I don't want to name it a product onslaught, but a productivity. We will have a very busy product here in Hino, starting today with the first one. At the Johannesburg International Motor Show that will take place in October, we will announce a significant new product, and during this year, the next 12 months, we will also have filling some product gaps, especially in some GBM categories where we have very little or no representation. So definitely in 2011-12, a very exciting year for us, and we would like to make the most of it, obviously.
That's Creamer Media's Real Economy Report. Join us again next week for more news and insight into South Africa's real economy.
Led by Martin Creamer, Mining Weekly's bureaus in Perth, Johannesburg and Toronto deliver unrivaled global coverage of the resources industry and the companies shaping it. Creamer Media's Mining Weekly for mining news around the clock.